Nikki, Nathan, we need to talk to you. Things aren't what they seem, and your mom and I, we're going to separate, and we're going to be getting divorced. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because you see, growing up, I never saw my parents fight, having serious arguments or disagreements. I'm serious. I'm not overstating it, embellishing it, over-exaggerating. I never saw my parents have real fights or arguments. I was never allowed to go into the bedroom, though. Ever. And the reason why is they said, Nathan, you and your sister, you're kind of a handful. You're kind of high energy, high strung. I get it, because I still am today. I stress people out today all the time. Nobody can keep up with my pace. And they said, we just need a place to get some peace and quiet. And that makes sense. But see, really the truth is, behind that bedroom door, it's where my parents weren't picture perfect. It's where the verbal, the mental, and the emotional abuse happened in my family. Behind that bedroom door is where the drugs and the alcohol happened in my family. And behind that door, they weren't who they said they were to me. And I remember when I began to ask questions about why there was a divorce happen, because it didn't make sense. And I found out the truth about my parents. You know what? I felt lied to. I felt betrayed. I felt like everything that I believed was built on a house of lies. And they said, Nathan, we were just trying to protect you, son. You didn't need to know about the problems in our marriage. And I understand their why. And I'm not saying they were wrong for trying to protect me and my sister. But you know what they did? They taught me, and maybe they didn't mean to teach me it, but they sure taught me it, because I watched them. They taught me how I could put on my mask too, and how I could go through life and keep everybody on the surface and not talk about my struggles, my pains, my hurts, and my wounds. That I could give that fake smile and that fake face, and I could leave my house and go to middle school and go to high school and get around people. And even though I was struggling, you would never know, because even though I was screaming, I was silent. And I would wear this mask real well, and I wouldn't let anybody know about the hurts and the pains, and all you would get from me was that very shallow and surface answer. And I wanted to keep everybody away, because I didn't know when I was growing up that it's okay to not be okay, because I watched my parents and they didn't talk about their stuff. You see, if I could hand you a picture, and on this picture would be a description of my life, and that picture would be detailing who I was, the picture that I would hand every single one of you, it would be me sitting on the beach, and I would be sitting on the sand, and the sand would be the most white, pristine thing that you have ever seen. The ocean waters would be crystal clear and so blue. The sunset would be majestically with yellows and oranges. The picture would look like everything was perfect, but below the ocean waters was darkness and depths and predators and preys, and I didn't know how to swim, and I was screaming, but I was silent. And I bet many of you that you go through your days and your journey, maybe you understand and you can relate to the mask too. And I just want to ask some of you in here, how many of you, if you're honest with yourself, do you know there's lots of times that you come to school and you go home and you go through life, and at the end of the day, you're just wearing your mask also? Anybody in here wear the mask too? Yep, lots of us. We all wear the mask. And this is what I needed everybody to understand. You see, I thought the mask was keeping me safe. I thought the mask was keeping my insecurities hid. I thought the mask was going to keep it where nobody could hurt me or my trust couldn't be broke. But I would wear this mask, and at the end of the day, pressure begins to build when we don't talk about our struggles and our issues. And when pressure builds, if it's not dealt with properly, pressure causes pipes to explode, and danger, destruction, and disasters happen when too much pressure builds and it doesn't find the healthy, the proper, the right way for that pressure to be released. And you see, many of us, we wear the mask and we think it's keeping us safe, but really that pressure is building, and pressure busts pipes. And if we don't understand how to properly handle that pressure, it'll begin to find and seep its way out into very unhealthy, self-destructing ways. How do I know? You see, when I was growing up and I kept everything below the surface and I wouldn't talk about any of my struggles, see, I didn't know that it was okay to not be okay. And I isolated. When I was going through middle school, you know, the word, we hear it before, and a lot of times we hear peer pressure. And we're like, man, I want to hear about that word, blah, blah, blah. My parents, my teachers, my administrators, I hear about it all the time when I was a kid growing up. Peer pressure, peer pressure. But the truth of the matter is, many of us know at the end of the day, we care so much about the opinions of the people around us. We want to act and talk and look a certain way. We want to run around with certain groups and crowds and cliques of people because we want to fit in. And if we don't fit into certain little groups and cultures and cliques, what will everybody else say about me? Too often we care so much about what everybody else thinks about us. And that's just real. And many of you wake up and you go through days and lives and you look in the mirror and then you find yourself coming to school trying to fit in and trying to act and talk, and you wear the mask and you don't talk about the real struggles.